Is it true? One-day decisions in your VA claim? Well, let me tell you something. Let's find out right here, right now on the Prepare to Compete podcast. What is the VA doing? One-day decisions? Let's find out.
Hello and welcome to the Prepare to Compete podcast, where we talk all things VA benefits, real estate, entrepreneurship, and more. Kenneth Davis, how you feeling today, my brother?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. I'm feeling excellent. Ready to educate, ready to talk about kind of some of the interesting things I've heard over the time frame over the last few days. I've kind of been, going around. Speaking to a lot of veterans, we do a lot of educational events and really to speaking to the populace, but it's been kind of a interesting one. I've heard a few different things talking about one-day decision claims. But we'll talk about it here shortly.
Absolutely. One-day decisions.
Yeah.
Now I know, wow, that sounds amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you first kind of think about it, oh yeah, I can get a decision in one day. But Kenneth, can you tell me what's the average timeline for a decision?
Typically, again, it varies. It varies. So typically, on average, it would kind of loom around 135 to 145 days around there, as it's kind of creeped up a bit over time due to the influx of claims. But in regards to me, one day, that's kind of that's a little bit of stretch, right? But when we're talking about the VA, I want to always be very cautious when we talk about this, because everyone's experience is not the same, okay? Just like everyone's military service isn't the same. Be very, very aware who you speak to, the information that you get, and who are you getting it from? What is the credibility like? Let's figure it out.
Absolutely. Let's figure that out. So now it's very important for veterans to kind of stay educated, right?
Yeah.
And really know about the claims process. And there's so much information online. There's a lot of people on YouTube talking, articles, you have different chats and Facebook groups and Reddit groups and different things. So we really want to make sure we're bringing you guys the breaking news and the updated kind of directives on what's going on. So Kenneth, can you kind of explain where this misinformation is coming from regarding the one-day claims?
Yeah. So there's basically it's been kind of a effort, right, and a push for the VA to be able to push ground support events and different things of that nature, where they're going to actually help the veterans and try to get out there to have a community event. And it's basically a program, again, where they're having mobile enrollment benefit events, right? These mobile enrollment benefit events this is not something new, right? This is something the VA has always sponsored, always been pretty privy of, and this is why you see a lot of the VA personnel at some certain events, right? But when we're talking about the mobile enrollment unit benefit for benefits, we have to consider that it is specifically going to be for typically all VA benefits. So when we're talking about in specifics, healthcare, asking questions amongst benefits, and what I mean by benefits, I mean VA benefits, but there's also other services. Some have other services, such as financial services, such as, again, other veterans who are struggling to get domiciliary services, all types of things, right? It just depends on what the position the veteran is in. But what we don't want to do is kind of confuse that or layer it with veterans being able to have a decision within one day of their benefits for their claims, okay? And I want to always refer to that, because these actual events here, I'm not going to say it can or can't be done, but I will always kind of make sure you understand, a little bit of my background. I personally was involved, obviously, in the VA, a rater for many years, and so on and so forth. But having a decision rendered in one day could be fairly difficult for any veteran, even if you have all your information there. So when we're spewing some information that may not be correct for all, I tend to lean towards to not say it at all. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all, right? Here on this number one veteran show, we're always going to represent what is going to be able to support the masses because what may happen for you as a veteran may not happen for your friend, family, or brother or sister in arms. Okay, but all in all, when we're talking about these events, a lot of them are going to be based upon healthcare and kind of low income financial need events. So I always want to kind of preface that and getting your claim or your disability claim processed in one day. I don't want to say it doesn't happen, but it does happen.
It doesn't happen. No, absolutely. No, that's a great point. So now with these community events, you say it's basically for enrollment of medical care, and you can actually, if you have your evidence, they have VSOs available to help
Yeah.
you submit your claim.
Yeah, they do have VSOs. A lot of times the VSOs are there, to answer questions, right? Is it possible to get things submitted? Yes, of course. But to have the process and actually going through the process and rendering a decision, you know, um, I would defer to say no. But it could, frankly, it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen, but
But
it definitely could be rather difficult. But even just if we kind of unpack that and even take a step back, right? And when we think about how to actually receive a favorable decision, you want to, there's a whole lot of things you want to do, right? I don't want to give too many secrets of the sauce right here because we want to stay on this same topic. And of course, we, help with that with Veterans for Veterans. And we also have a community that we're opening up, and we're going to have courses and different things. But we're going to train on that because it is so detailed. It is so detailed. And a lot of times veterans don't even have their medical records. So when you're thinking about getting a claim done in one day, it's like, well, are you submitting a fully developed claim? Do you even know what a fully developed claim is, right? A lot of times. So we don't want our veterans to have that misinformation, but we do want them to feel like they can be adequately served, right?
Yeah.
And I think the importance and the significance and the popularity of the one-day submission is mainly because veterans are getting tired of waiting, right?
Yeah.
They're getting tired of waiting. Obviously the average decision is about 130 days, give or take, right? But you have some veterans that have been waiting, 6 months,
Years.
even years for decisions, right? And it's like, okay, what can we do to get a relief to kind of get ahead of that, right? And make sure. So, when veterans are filing their claims, we're not gonna give them everything here, right? But, where should they start in that process ultimately to make sure that they receive a faster decision because that's what they're ultimately looking toward?
When you are looking for a faster decision, what I would tell you is this, is that first and foremost, obviously you kind of want to identify what you are actually claiming, right? And making sure that it's something that can be plausible, right? Because that's what we would need. So to be able to possibly receive a faster decision, you would want any evidence along with it. Okay. You would also want your service medical records. All right. Not only that, you would also want any type of, like I said, medical evidence that could be accompanying that. Okay. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these things are needed to be gathered during a process of duty to assist. The VA will always provide a duty to assist anytime that you have any type of looming medical records, service medical records, personnel files, or anything that could be missing that could potentially advocate for a service connection. So you want to be kind of cautious of certain areas. Okay, so and when we talk about that, right, that will ultimately at least put you in a position to be higher in a queue, because we talked about earlier this year the backlog has just been creeping up, right? Well, why? And why is that happening? Well, if in the beginning of the year there's 1.1, sorry, not beginning, but first quarter 1.1 million claims that are pending in the VA's queue. How are we supposed to get one-day decisions? It's frankly, you don't have enough people and enough time throughout the day to get stuff done. All right. So, and that's just the truth, you know. But what I will say, if you want the faster decisions, please have anything that could be accompany your case file to make it a little bit faster. Would be any type of service medical records for you, any type of again medical evidence that you may have, and also the correct form of for your claim and identifiable conditions that you want.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's great information there, Kenneth. And Kenneth is a wealth of information, and you're going to be being exposed to that a lot more, right? We are actually launching our own Veterans for Veterans app, and we're going to have a learning center in a community that is really going to be great. And so we're going to be announcing that very soon here. We're going to be starting with opening that community because we want to start streamlining all your support and your questions to get everything answered. And we ultimately want to be able to take a deep dive and give you all the details, information, and not just blanket information of us just talking here, right? With links, attached resources with PDFs and kind of everything that you really need to be successful that we just can't simply do on this platform, right? We could only kind of talk to you here. We want you to have all the learning material. So we're excited to bring that to you very soon here.
No, true indeed. And with this platform, you're going to be able to ask the personalized questions that you may want to answer, right? And guess what? The community is here for support. We will talk about the one-day claim, right? We can write in the community who has had this done and who has been successful at it, right? And because we want validity. Because there's so much misinformation out there, you need to find out what is the credible source that you can actually rely on. All right. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to harp on it too much because it just, it becomes very, we don't want to beat a dead horse. We want to talk about the positive things. We want to focus on the things that we're going to actually do for you. Okay. So with that being said, I always want to make sure that this is a platform for support. But now I do also want to take a moment to focus on what does that look like in regards to a one-day claim, right? As a veteran who understands that this process has been daunting for most and been mislabeled, misunderstood, do you even want your case file to be completed or your VA claim completed in one day? I wouldn't. That means there has been some missteps and misdirection in your claim. So, but yeah, so at the end of the day, sometimes you got to take a step back to kind of really logically think about of your success. Just because you can get it done in one day doesn't mean you should. So at the end of the day, make sure you're equipping yourself with all the information that you deserve and equipping yourself with all the benefits that you deserve because again, it's your service. So again, hopefully this clears up a few things. Please ask any type of questions that you like below. We incite and want you to make sure that you tap in, be able to communicate with us and touch base with us. So with that being said, prepare to compete. We're out.
Peace.